Hi, I used to live in Pismo Beach, California, the Central Coast, and once my celebrity really sticks and positive cash flow is coming into a certain uh, committee at Social Alchemy Project Access Management, projection is to have the first annual Pismo Beach Gay Pride. And Social Alchemy Project is going to own that. So it's very, very, very exciting. But this is interesting because you have always your open agenda, right? You have to be very flexible with what life is going to bring you, whether that's love, whether it's disrespectful people during sex. Folks are loitering with great intent to see what you have. And there is an alternate ending, which might be you saying no. So people seek recognition with a subservient heart. And you got to keep it loose and you have to keep it tight. That means have an eye on people, but give them a break, while truthfully making agreements with them. Because men, they may lack sophistication, and the way we raise the sophistication of gay men is by teaching them about agreements and standing by them in their goals so that they don't think that they are alone, because of course we all know men want more bang up their asses for more bucks. And professional men that have a good living via the money that they show to the world to draw them in by their muscles and their fitness and their world travels and their academics truly do not give interest for them to be loved through them and to connect with men, because there's men out there that are successful that don't want people that have souls. They would rather have their own house and show it off to attract somebody that has the same level of money. And of course, you know, I've said this before in a lecture, that money cannot buy sophistication. I really think that all of us have this need to reduce anxiety through sophistication. We have to accept the things that we cannot change. You know this from Alcoholics Anonymous. You also have to let go of your perfectionism and maintain a positive attitude. Mr. Marilyn, Boy George's very close friend, pretty proud of it, kind of wanted to fuck me at one point. He said, and I've discussed this in my lecture, quoting Mr. Marilyn, keep your expectations low, standards high, and have a high gratitude level. And learn what triggers your anxiety. When you bring these together and you start equating intentional community development and ethical welcoming collective consciousness, remember it's all sociology, 1A, you bring agreements to people, and it's regardless of their wealth, regardless of them being well balanced in the way they eat, being fit, but you give them the affection they need so that they can get good sound sleep. And this is going to help them in learning about meditating, because they feel loved, they're not restless, and they can quiet the mind. So when you make agreements to people, well, to men, and you're a man of your word, you raise sophistication, and you've initiated crisis stabilization, a space for them to be with you through the agreements and the certainty and the dependability before their mental health crisis may reach a level of an emergency. So, gentlemen, you've got to take other men very seriously within the social justice prevalence, the democracy promotion without force, getting people to exercise their voice, and ultimately discover that you have no disrespectful sex. You're not tossing men around. You've already done it, right? You've all watched your porn, done your drugs, maybe, maybe not. Though, in the making agreements and gaining sophistication, you are marrying yourself, to get married. You are marrying, not mirroring, but marry, to be wed, to connect, to become one, to engage. You are marrying a culture that is oversensitive, but with your agreements and your being a man of your word and touching the junk within people's souls, you raise their sophistication, and you don't have to really go to trashy websites anymore. What I'm relating to is expanding your intellect and becoming aware, awake of the ethical welcoming collective consciousness, and not being lonely anymore where you're stuck with fucking your own pillow. Come on, men. There's no shame to talk about that. Just the fact here is that you are here and you have to give yourself self-esteem. People call me Tyler Weiler the Smiler. They want to know why I smile. I smile because I'm following through with changing lives through agreements and raising sophistication through the Conscious Life Expo for you, which is all what? Social alchemy, social change, becoming your own alchemist and learning how to self-govern yourself and stand by your side. Because when you do this, you're being a straight-up Christian, all right? Jesus did not go around doubting himself, all right? He didn't go around running to drugs out of neediness. He didn't go around calling folks into his tent. He didn't live in a tent, I'm just saying, a tent. A tent, camping, gay men. Jesus Christ did not pitch up a tent and say, come on in, and I'm going to give you your booty call. Jesus Christ had a sense of psychological masculinity, and at the right time, he separated himself from any community to go to be with the Father, to see what the Father was telling him, and that was because Christ had agreements. Christ had a level of sophistication. I had to put in my dentures, I could barely speak. Jesus Christ had a level of sophistication, and he provided unity to people. And because of the love that was radiating from him, folks were able to celebrate their lives and live their bliss, gay or straight. To bring sexual violence, to have angry sex, men, you win. You win. You have everything you want, right? For the taking. But it's about the giving. You get back what you put into something. And that is with your socio-spirituality. This being articulated, we have to stand tall in the sociological war of people seeking not a lasting democratic liberty, but a empowerment is a false sense of empowerment, you know, to dominate people and to take democratic liberty from people. This is happening in politics. I'm not going to get into draining the swamp. I'm not going to hear talk on the subject of Donald J. Trump, but men, you've won. And what I'm asking you to do is to be creative in the way you approach other men for those agreements, to get to know their soul, regardless of you being a homeowner or regardless of them being a homeowner, despite the fact that they have more of what you want or you have more of what they want. Hello, downtown store. Down there in your panties, where your crotches. That's right, the crotch department. You don't have to seek your wealthy living by how you maneuver and toss around men and size them up and sniff around and see what they have through sex. These are not the agreements we're talking about, okay? Rubbing one out with your brother, these are not the agreements we're talking about. I want you men to raise your level of freedoms up here. You've had all the liberated mind down here, and you've gotten to the purpose no matter what it's taken, and now you have to make sure that you gain respect and you're right on with these agreements and knowing men, because this helps men end self-hatred in our community. It's a very important thing when the self is mostly disgusted of themselves. And I've said this before, magician or hacker. Which one are you going to be? Because either way, you look crazy. And we have to say that we may not know how to consider learning to see what the social arts can bring to you. For those men that don't have a shared goal in their community with other men, I'm giving you art, and that's all through the Social Alchemy Project Access Management, through nearly over 400 videos and playlists at Social Alchemy Project YouTube channel. New World Christ Church, University, Policy Making, the Tyler Hamilton Foundation for Research, Social Behavioral Sciences Research, for the forgotten mentally ill gay men that are being mismanaged by other men. For the reason that men connect together, right? Wait. I even forget if it's the left or right side that works best for me. Because the whole dirty sex has been very crippling, like shame is for men. But it is your justice to manage your own life. It's fair in your society. I'm not taking that from you. But in the use of drugs and alcohol, and the lack of standards of living, plus never finding a lasting love, and being oppressed by your inner homophobia, back to the party drugs, age discrimination, you need to figure out, are you a magician making things up through delusional thoughts of grandeur and you're mentally ill? Or are you clever and you're a hacker of people's souls? That's the question that we're looking at. Come out of the closet, men, on this. I'm your man. I'm here to work with you, to be inspired, to use your self-governance, to have a focused learning attribute on how to be your own alchemist and access the management of your art. You're not to be polarized, separatist, isolated, but you're to have a tailored treatment plan for you with other men. Anything that we do for motivational accountability, life coaching, and counseling alternatives to the political leaders and celebrities, the elite, is for inclusion, integral theory, having all men integrated with one another. This is the warm, enriched, supportive learning environment of alchemy, of change. It is your human development. Gentlemen, I guarantee you, you will not need your Ambien or your clonazepam, because you will be able to find you're not restless. Because that level of sophistication through the agreements, through the tinctures, the egalitarian typologies, and that's something that men are very curious about. They want to know more about that, and they can learn that through the Tyler Hamilton University College of Social and Behavioral Sciences. We're just now getting that up and going, but no materials or literatures are out there, or tuition details. This is something in the future, right? Such as the first annual Gay Pismo Beach Pride. Instead of being an attention whore to get a man to see that you're worth their pocketbook and you gain their acceptance, I want you to have attention for you. I want you to have that social character clinic, because the lies and the untruths and the devilish, indulgent conditions of what we've established through the sources of connecting via cum dump is not the agreements. When you find this happens and you're not self-actualized and you have hardship, you have disgracefulness, you have the wrong form of vanity. You can't be admired because you haven't patrolled yourself. Patrol. You need to learn to be your own surveillance. Men. Self-governance. Alchemy. And that alchemy, that change happens as you see that you've hit bottom. Now, I have some notes for you. One moment. The socio-spirituality of alchemy is that I am more than happy to baptize you through immersion of water for the remission of your flaws, missing the mark. Because Jesus Christ is love. And the Lord Christ is greatly academic. Jesus loves, listen to me, and he wails, he cries out, and he died on the cross, and he resurrected for Easter Sunday. Christ's victory over death and suffering humanities to the unimaginable agreements that you now get to make, because you are what? Pure in heart, and you can see life's blessing of God. Because you're good, you're smart, and you have nutritional sustained food for your brain chemistry. This is going to enable you to reconstruct your thinking. I call it re-engineering your mind to your real life of wholeness. That is the way you attract love. That is the way you part your own Red Sea. Something out of the Old Testament in the Bible. I question, do you believe in the encounter I'm not asking you to believe in the resurrection of Christ. I'm asking you to believe in the encounter of the knowledge that is immediate belief. And you can renounce all types of evil and anything that's breaking you away from saying your righteous prayers. Now, men, you don't want religiosity, I understand, but you want your church of cock, correct? Then you're going to have to sit down and understand in the subservient heart, you do make agreements. You are a man of your word. We do not want men to go around thinking that they can get away with being flakes. Men don't work that way. Men are hot. Men are muscular. Rich or poor. They'll honor the gift of your testicle sac and do all the shaving for free for you. All the manscaping that you need them to do. But this is not grace. This is not mercy. These are sexual favors. And again, in the respect and dignity of every human man out there, those are not the agreements we're talking about. There's a book called The Force of Character, and it explains how the mystery that is planted inside of you, and you kind of have to read between the lines, but people are scattered in their thinking. It's because they have declined to provide credit in their own consciousness and their loneliness to that level of wanting to be loved. And they have to pay it forward. I'm not talking money, and I'm not talking paying for man's love through sexual favors. I'm talking about beginning to do the work on the soul. And that is paying it forward. To pay it forward and create your own workshop. Because of the community of scattered men that are not men of their words, but they're little boys. Gentlemen, if you want to dwell in a world of peace and not find your way through the service of yourself and ego to keep yourself restless, then you need to juice some other things than your shinga wanga wanga pee pee weepee. I want you to juice the mind. I want you to take the unique disasters that you have as men and see that in your social transformative change, your own self-governance, you're making a place where you're giving yourself to the new healing touch of agreements for you. I want you to make an agreement for you. That is, I think, a very keen point. Correct? This is where I have found my own sophistication. That's all we wanted to discuss. Have fun making sophistication happen through your agreements, starting with you as a man of your word that brings you peace. This is loving yourself first.